All right, let's just get right into it. For decades, you and I, we've all been told the same thing, right? Eat your whole grains, stick to lean meats, and definitely limit your fat. But look around. With over 70% of Americans overweight or obese, it's pretty clear that something's not working. And that's exactly why so many people are turning to really radical ideas, like the carnivore diet, because they're looking for answers that, frankly, the mainstream just hasn't given them.
And according to Dr. Anthony Chaffee, that's actually the entire problem right there. He basically says, look, people aren't sick as they're ignoring the rules. No, they're sick because they've been following them to the letter. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a powerful idea that just flips everything we thought we knew completely on its head.
Okay, but that brings up a really important question, doesn't it? If carnivore is supposed to be so simple, just eat meat, right? Why do so many people still struggle? Why do they get frustrated, hit a plateau, or just not get the results they were so excited about? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly that. We'll break down the common mistakes and really simplify the road to success, all based on Dr. Chaffee's no-nonsense advice.
So, what's the fix? Well, Dr. Chaffee's entire philosophy can be boiled down to one super powerful idea: radical simplicity. The answer isn't to add more rules or more complexity, it's to take it all away.
And when he says simple, he means simple. He's convinced that 99.9%, I mean, basically all, of the results people are looking for come from this one formula. Just eat meat and animal fats, drink water, and get rid of everything else. That's it. Full stop. Anything else, it's just noise, a distraction. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? On one side, you've got the simple focus: meat, fat, water. And on the other side, all the distracting trends that just complicate everything. We're talking about sardine fasts, egg fasts, constantly counting your macros, chasing ketone numbers. Dr. Chaffee argues this stuff is a total waste of time. He's even said he's never once checked his own ketones. Why? Because he trusts that if you just eat what humans are designed to eat, your body knows exactly what to do. No need to micromanage it. All right, so if the name of the game is meat, you're probably wondering, what kind of meat? Is it all the same? Let's actually build a super practical guide here using Dr. Chaffee's own food ratings so you can see how to build the best possible plate for getting results. Okay, let's start with the best of the best, the top tier. First up, ribeye steak. Dr. Chaffee literally calls this perfect because it naturally has that beautiful 1-to-1 ratio of fat to protein. It's like the ideal fuel. And hey, don't overlook a good fatty ground beef. He says it's just as nutritious as a steak as long as that fat content is nice and high. And for you chicken eaters out there, he says forget the lean breast. The real magic, the nutritional powerhouse, is in the dark meat, especially when you leave the skin on for all that good fat. Now for the good category. Still some awesome options here. Salmon, for example, is a fantastic fatty fish, just loaded with those omega-3s. And bacon. Of course bacon gets a mention. His take is pretty funny. He says even regular bacon is better than any plant out there. But yeah, if you can find a sugar-free version, that's even better. And sardines. They're another omega-3 powerhouse, for sure. But they can be pretty lean. So you want to think of them more as an addition to a meal, not the whole shebang. All right, now let's talk about the use with caution list. These are the things that can trip people up. We already mentioned chicken breast. He famously calls it tasteless and useless because it's just too low in fat. But the biggest one, the #1 culprit for stalling progress, it's usually dairy, especially cheese. It can be inflammatory for some people, and this is key. We tend to just add it on top of our meal, not replace something with it, which just piles on the calories. And butter, it's a great source of fat, but if you have any dairy sensitivities, switching to ghee is a much safer bet.
You know, this brings us perfectly to the most common pitfalls. Because even when you're trying to do everything right, eating the best foods, there are a few things that can just grind your progress to a halt.
So here they are, the top 3 progress killers. #1, as we just talked about, is dairy. #2 is alcohol. And Dr. Chaffee does not mince words here. He calls it a poison that kicks off inflammatory pathways that can last for up to 3 weeks. Think about that. That feeling of being just a little off can stick around long after your drink is finished. And finally, #3, sweeteners and coffee. For anyone who feels stuck, he says the very first thing to do is just strip it all back to the basics. Just meat and water. See what happens. It's the ultimate reset. Of course, we can't have this conversation without talking about the elephant in the room, can we? But what about my cholesterol? This is probably the #1 fear, the biggest question people have when they start eating so much fat and red meat.
And man, Dr. Chaffee's take on this just flips the entire script. He argues that all that fear is completely misplaced. He actually points to huge studies where higher LDL cholesterol is linked with a longer life. Yeah, you heard that right. He sees LDL not as the bad guy causing problems, but as part of your body's repair crew showing up to fix things. So in his book, it's not a scary risk marker. It might actually be a sign of longevity.
Okay, that brings us to our last piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most important part of all. It's about getting your mindset right for the long haul, because this is about so much more than just what's on your plate. I love this analogy he uses. It's so powerful. You walk 10 miles into the woods, you're going to have to walk 10 miles out. You just can't expect to undo years, maybe decades, of metabolic damage in just a few weeks. It's simply not how the body works. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes consistency to walk yourself all the way back to good health. There really are no shortcuts. So the real key, the secret ingredient here, is just patience. Seriously, the number on the scale is often the very last thing to move. Why? Because your body has its own to-do list, and losing weight is not at the top. It's busy healing inflammation, balancing out your hormones, and just repairing itself from the inside out. You have to trust that process.
So what's the big takeaway here? What do you need to remember? First, focus on the wins that have nothing to do with the scale. Your energy, your sleep, your mood. Those are the real signs you're healing. Second, learn to trust your body's own signals for hunger and fullness. It knows what it's doing. Third, and this is the big one, if you ever get in doubt, just simplify. Go back to basics. Meat, fat, water. And finally, you got to remember this isn't some diet you do for a bit and then stop. It's a lifestyle. I mean, think about it. If the old way of eating is what made you sick in the first place, why would you ever want to go back to it?